And welcome back to another CBB Talk with your boy, Will Dickinson. We got one hell of an episode for you guys today. We have a big weekend recap that we have to get through, man. We had a lot of interesting results. The number one team in the nation got a big win over a top 5 team. And the number one team, according to the committee, took a loss on the road to a team with a new coach and a lot of other very interesting results that we have to get to. Some big changes inside my top 25. 4 teams in, 4 teams out. Let's go into it. But first, I don't know what first. I'm going to take a quick pause because I think I need to sneeze. We're going to get into this week recap. It's going to be fun. All right, so if you're new here, what we do for these recaps is we just go in chronological order because if I don't and I talk about UConn Marquette first, I will definitely just forget some things to talk about. So I'll spend more time on the big time games, but I do in chronological order. So if you're here for UConn Marquette, you can fast forward. I'll have my screen shared for the big time games. So if you want to fast forward to that or the Purdue game, you can do so. But I will be talking about pretty much any big notable result over the weekend and at least mention it. So let's get into it. It started off really good on Saturday. Jameer Nelson Jr. for TCU hits a game-winning 3 at Kansas State. That's a big win for the Horned Frogs as they, were up and down so far this Impact 12 play. They had a really good non-con. I think TCU will be in the NCAA tournament. They're probably going to be an 8-9 seed. And this is a big win to get one on the road. All right. On the road at Kansas State. Pretty sure it's a quad one win there. Micah Peavy had 26. But Jameer Nelson seals the show with the game winner there. That was a really big-time shot. And the Horned Frogs, 18-7. They're trending towards the NCAA tournament. Kansas State. This is a down year after what an amazing year one under Jerome Tang. Alabama crushes Texas A&M. A&M won't. I don't think A&M's a tournament team this year. I've seen some people still have them in. I just don't see that at all. Mark Sears, 23, 100 from Bama. They shoot the ball, and when they shoot like that, like they did on Saturday against A&M, they're damn near unbeatable. Bama was a 3 seed in the selection show preview, and I have them 16th in the nation here. They can definitely be higher, but it's hard to put them over some of these teams that are just also winning games. We have a big-time game tonight, and it highlights Iowa State. They took down Texas Tech at home, 82-74, and that's not a normal Iowa State game. Iowa State usually plays low-scoring defensive battles, and they didn't in this one. They scored 82. Keyshawn Gilbert's been the man. Taman Lipsey's been very good. Gilbert had 24 in this one. The Cyclones are rolling. I got them up to 5th in the nation here. They got put as a 3 seed in the show. I thought they deserved a 2 seed. Iowa State's 5th in the nation. They're going up against Houston tonight. This is a big time game. Iowa State's going to be on the road in Houston. If you win this game, Iowa State, the nation has to realize that you're a top 3 team in the country. Houston, that's going to be a really good one tonight. Iowa State's playing really good basketball. They're locked into the tournament at this point, 20-5. They're sitting alone at top of the Big 12, and they have a big time game tonight. That's gonna be really fun to watch. UVA beat Wake 49-47. Virginia just won this game shooting 9% from the free throw line. I've never seen anything like it. It was pathetic, if you will. But Virginia gets the win. Reese Beekman had 20 of the 49 there. That's a classic Virginia game. They were struggling defensively. Then they hold the team up for under 50. Wake needed it. Wake almost, came back at the end there. Hunter Silas had 10, but it was a 12. Led them in scoring there. Virginia, big bounce back win after losing the Pitt. I still got Virginia actually ranked at 23. They're back in. Just a lot of teams fell out, and I like them more than like a Wisconsin who I dropped out. Creighton, road win against Butler, easily down at 1.5. They end up winning by 22. Baylor Scheinman, 27. Kalkbrenner, big game, as well as Trey Alexander. When those 3 are going, Creighton's very dangerous. They weren't in that reveal of the top 16 teams according to the committee. And I have Creighton at 19. They moved up 5 spots over the weekend. That's a really big win. Butler has an 0-2 week. They were in the tournament. Now I don't think they are. The Big East was going to be tough. Seton Hall got a big time win over the weekend as well. So we're going to see that bubble of the Big East. I bet two of those. I bet the Big East is going to be a 5-bid league, and is Butler going to be on that just wrong side? They might be, because you can't have an 0-2 week with 2 home games. And I understand you're playing Marquette and Creighton, 2 teams that are going to be locked into the tournament. But still, you want to win one of those games, especially at home, because you're probably not going to do it on the road. Florida, a team that I moved into my top 25, gets a road win at Georgia. Walter Clayton Jr. He's been on a mission recently. Florida's in at number 25. The Gators are trending in the right direction. Virginia did beat them earlier in the year. That was another reason for me having Virginia in the NCAA tournament, or not in the NCAA, in my rankings. The Gators, I believe they'll be dancing as an 8 seed, maybe a 7 seed. They're going to be a dangerous team because they're led by guards, and they have experience. They shoot the 3. They can win big time games. They've beat Kentucky on the road this year. They're playing really good basketball. They have some younger bigs too. I like the Gators. They're trending in the right direction here. They didn't make the tournament last year, but I think they're fully back. They're playing really well. And yeah, I like Florida. They're trending well. They can shoot the ball, and they got another big time road win against a Georgia team that's, Georgia had a really good start to the year. They've kind of fallen off recently, but they're still a very competent team. Houston destroyed Texas 22-23. Oh, not 22-23. I cannot read. That's 82-61. Where, I don't know what I was saying. LJ Cryer finally has a really, really good game. 26 points in this one. Jerron Roberts was good. Jamal Shed doing his thing there. Again, Texas is going to also be, I think Texas will end up making the tournament as an 8-9 seed. They're just not, they didn't live up to expectations this year. Kind of a down year for them. And we saw Houston's defense just overwhelm them in this one. Houston is up to my number 2 team in the country. And of course, they have that game against Iowa State today. That's going to be must-watch TV. Big-time game there. Houston has a big week coming up. They have Iowa State, then they go on the road against Baylor. I think, where is it? I think this is they go on the road at Baylor. This is a huge week for the Cougars. I have them as the second best team in the country right now. If they go 2-0, they probably won't be number 1, but they'll cement themselves as 2, and they would be chasing UConn. And it would be a close chase. Dayton keeps winning. It was a close one for them, but a win's a win there. Deron Holmes had 29. He is just one of the best players in the country. BYU loses at Okie State. BYU is now out of my top 25. They're 18-7. They'll be the NCAA tournament again. Great computer numbers, but they just haven't been amazing in the Big 12 here. And you lost to maybe the worst team in the Big 12 in Okie State. You just can't do that. You got to win those games on the road. Duke wins one on the road. Jared McCain, 35, ties a freshman record at Duke with Zion Williamson. He's cemented himself as the best freshman on that team. He can shoot the living leather off the ball. He's been a game changer over there. Some people know him from TikTok. Other people know him for being an absolute hoop baller, stud out there. Good win for Duke. I got him 9th in the. Do I have Duke 9th in the country? I have Duke 9th in the country, just maintaining their spot, keep winning games. The Blue Devils, again, I believe their last game of the regular season against Carolina will be for the winner of the ACC. Yeah, and talking about North Carolina, they got a win over Virginia Tech. Nothing too special there. Baycott had 25. He's playing really good basketball recently. Harrison Ingram had a good game as well. Just an easy win for Carolina, and I got 8th in the country right now for the Tar Heels here. Maintaining just playing good basketball after losing, going a little rough stretch after that Duke game. They've picked it back up. Iowa takes down Wisconsin here. Wisconsin's just hasn't been as good. Wisconsin was a top 10 team in the country. They've fallen off. I got Wisconsin now out of my rankings. I dropped them out. I know. Stephen Crowd, a good game, but wasn't enough. Iowa State, big time bucket down the stretch in overtime by Tony Perkins. Iowa, they're probably not a tournament team this year, but they're still they're the middle of that Big Ten. And Wisconsin's going to be in the NCAA tournament. They were a 4 seed in the reveal. Wasn't too surprised by that. But they're just not a top 16 team in the country. Just like how they're playing, like their talent, the way they play. There'll be an NCAA tournament team. I see they'll end up being like a 6 seed. And I wouldn't like them come March. I don't think they're going to be trending in the right direction. I don't know. I don't really like the way they play. I like AJ Storr, but I don't know. Something about this Wisconsin team doesn't give me good vibes, and they're on my top 25 for a reason. It's because they've been losing a lot of games. But we gotta get to, I tell you, I just go in chronological order, and it's time to talk about. You've heard of the Boston Massacre. We gotta call this like the Hartford Massacre or whatever. UConn takes down Marquette 81-53. It wasn't close. It was practically, I don't know if it was wire to wire, but it felt like a wire to wire victory over Marquette. It was quite humiliating for Marquette. UConn just destroyed them. Klingon was, this is Klingon's probably best game of the year. 17-10, missed one shot, was a dominant force down low. Tristan Newton, Cam Spencer's, he's probably an asshole. If he was on Duke, he'd probably be the most hated player in America. But he's on UConn. He's firing up. He's talking mad shit when they're up 30, pointing to the scoreboard, getting the crowd riled up. He brings that fire to UConn, which is needed. And they didn't even need a big game from Caravan or Stefan Castle. They both kind of struggled in this one. It didn't matter. Diarra had 14 off the bench. Samson Johnson's a great lob threat to come off the bench. They have so much depth. And they just overwhelmed Marquette. They came out with some fire, some motivation from seeing they weren't the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. They now are. There's only 2 teams in the country with less than 3 losses. It's them and Grand Canyon. UConn is that team. They shut down Tyler Kulik, 7 points for him on 2 for 11 shooting there. Tristan Newton, man, big time player, 15, 8 and 8, the leader of this team. UConn is the best team in the country, and what Dan Hurley's done this year is just actually remarkable. Losing all these starters from last year's team. And they weren't the highest rated team coming in the offseason, and they've just been dominant. They one of their losses is at Kansas, and the other one's at Seton Hall, or is at Providence? I think it's one of them, at Providence or at Seton Hall. And those are bad. Their only losses are in quad one. This team is just good. They're deep. They have freshman talent. They have athleticism. They have bigs. They have guards. They can shoot the ball. They're really just well-rounded team. And look, for Marquette, I dropped Marquette to 7th in the nation here. They ran into a freight train that was not going to be stopped. And when you have your best player really struggle, it's tough. Cam Jones wasn't terrible in this one. He had some bad threes, though, a couple air balls. Iguodala was good, but they couldn't stop Kling on the other end there. And I still like Marquette. I like the way. I think they're still going to be a team that's going to be a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, and they're going to get another chance at home to take down UConn. And we see if they can. We know that's going to be a ruckus environment there. They're not going to give anything. It's not going to be like this when it's in Milwaukee, and then maybe we can see them again in Madison Square Garden in the Big East Championship. That would be amazing. But right now, UConn's best team in the country. I've been saying UConn's best team in the country. I understood why Purdue was number 1. I predicted that to happen because of their resume. But at this point, there's no denying that UConn's the most talented team and the best team in the country. What they just did to Marquette, I don't know if any other team could do that. Because Marquette's a really good team. They just are. And this game doesn't change my mind. South Carolina took another loss. They kind of just choked the game away to LSU. I have South Carolina still ranked at 20th. You can't. They were 11th, and now they're 20th. After this week, they dropped 9 spots, and it's just because there's a lot of other teams that dropped. South Carolina, I do believe they're still a good NCAA tournament team. But this was a tough week. I mean, obviously at Auburn, this is probably not a game you're winning. But then you want to bounce back and get that win against LSU, and you don't. So now they've lost two back to back, and they gotta try to pick it up this week, and get a good week going and regain some of that confidence that they were playing with, just last week and the week before. Kansas road win over Oklahoma. Shout out to the Jayhawks there. Down 5 at half. This is a game that Kansas struggled in all year, really, is winning road games. And they get the job done. Hunter Dickinson, 20 and 16. Kevin McCullough was back. And what I said on Friday's episode was if Kevin McCullough plays, I like Kansas to win. If he doesn't, I don't. Kevin McCullough plays. We see what happens. They win. Just a good game from the Jayhawks all around there. Great defensive effort in that second half. They don't allow 60 points there. And the Jayhawks finally get a much-needed road win. I got Kansas up to 10th in the nation. Again, depth is a concern for the Jayhawks. And health, it really is too. If Kevin McCullough can stay healthy, I like Kansas, but because he's maybe their most important player. Let's see what else. Yeah, this is a gap of just shitty games. Illinois bounces back, or not really bounces back, but Illinois just gets a nice win over Maryland on the road, something they haven't done in a while. Terrence Shannon is fully back with 27. Illinois, I literally do think can win the Big Ten. They're when Sharon's fully back to be playing his basketball like he did before his suspension, if you will. They're 11th in the country. Marcus Domask playing well. I really do like this Illinois team, and with Terrence Shannon, they're just a different beast. They're a juggernaut. And they are trending in the right direction right now. Good win for the Fighting Illini. And they're right now a real threat in the Big Ten. They're 2 games back at Purdue, or maybe they're 1.5. I'm not sure. They can definitely make a run at them, and I want to see these two teams play again. Colorado State takes down Utah State, and it was easy. A 20-point win. Isaiah Stevens had 18 in this one. Jake Scott, good game. This is a really good Colorado State team. I got them back in my rankings at 22. I dropped Utah State out. Great Osborne had a double-double, but it wasn't enough. Wait, no, I didn't drop Utah State out. I still have Utah State in at 24. I can't fault them too much for losing a road game to Colorado State, who I do think Colorado State's a really good team. They're back trending in that right direction. Obviously, they had such good non-con, and they kind of fell out of my rankings for a while. They're back in at 20, I think at 21. So shout out to the Rams. They're playing really good ball, and they're a real threat to win the Mountain West with San Diego State, with Utah State, of course. I'm actually not sure how those standings kind of play out right now, but it's definitely gonna be a close race. And that Mountain West tournament, man, that's gonna be honestly almost must-watch TV. It's gonna be really, really good. Baylor gets another win. Jacoby Walter, 23. I mean, it was against West Virginia, but a good win for Baylor. They're up to 12th in the nation right now. Another big game of the weekend, something that I definitely didn't see coming, was Kentucky taking a win at Auburn, something that I definitely didn't see coming here. I said, last episode, I wish I could be like insert the clip because I wish I was that good, but I'm not that good at editing. It would be me saying I would take Auburn minus 10. That's a tough look for me. It's a real tough look for me. I'm not proud I said it, but I did. I just did not see any team after what Auburn did to South Carolina. There's no way I thought that Kentucky, who's came in there and been really up and down this year, to get a road win in wire. This was wire to wire fashion over Auburn. Really impressive game from the Wildcats there. Antonio Reeves just being that leader, 22. I love them starting a Duthiero in this one. I just like that better for the team. He had 14-8, played big in this one. He's been a really underrated piece. When he was out with injury, Kentucky wasn't playing at their fullest potential. We see him back playing really well. DJ Wagner, I'm not sure why he starts, but he does. Eight in this one. And yes, has been that center to step up and play big. Really, Aaron Bradshaw is pretty much out of the rotation at this point. And obviously, Reed Shepherd, Rob Dillingham didn't have great games this one, but they come off the bench and give a lot of firepower. And only 18 minutes for Rob. It didn't matter. In this one, Kentucky pretty much controlled the game. Jalen Williams did go down with an injury in this one. It looked bad. sources say that he's going to be back before the end of the regular season. That's huge for Auburn. He's really been the second best player on this team. John A. Broome was good, not great, and then really no one else stepped up. Trey Donaldson was in foul trouble, had 1 point. Obviously, Jalen Williams had 3. Auburn just kind of shot themselves into a hole. Look what they shot from 3. 4 for 22 from 3. Kentucky only shot 13 threes and made the same amount. So Auburn couldn't get anything to go. It was a good environment. Neville's always amazing, but Kentucky goes in and gets a big road victory. Cal said that he knows this team isn't going to be elite defensively, but he says if they can just get a little better, this team can, go somewhere and be a legit contender. They play great defense this one. They allowed 59 points to Auburn. And that's huge for Kentucky. If they don't have to allow 59 points a game, but if they can allow like 70, Kentucky can beat anyone in the nation. I got them back up to 17th over I had them ranked before this game, just from other things happening. They get this win here, bolsters them up 6 spots. I got them at 17. I got Auburn at 13. This is a weird game for Auburn. Auburn, I believe, is still a better team than Kentucky. But Kentucky's more talented and they got more potential. But I have to count in other things. Auburn had a good week still. 40-point win against South Carolina, and then you take a loss against Kentucky. You don't want to do that. But still, you gotta shout Kentucky because they just won a really tough game on the road. Tennessee continues to just easily win. They played Vanderbilt. I got Tennessee 4th in the country. The Volunteers, man, they're my favorite in the SEC. They're kind of just going on the radar right now because they haven't played any big-time games. They lost a game to South Carolina, but since then they've been really good. I want to see a matchup with Auburn. I do not know if they've played each other yet this year. That'd be a really good game. We had Indiana State ranked, and then they just lost 2 games in a row. Now they're really struggling for an at-large bid. And I believe now Drake's at top of the MVC. So that's going to be very interesting. I don't know if Indiana State can actually be a at-large team at the moment. We had Boise win. Clemson dropped one at home to NC State. Not a great loss for Clemson there. Drops them out. That probably led to be Virginia in. Yeah, just a tough loss there for the Tigers. DJ Horn hits the game winner, had 27 this one, so good one for NC State. I don't think NC State will be a tournament team, but yeah, not great. Michigan State beats Michigan. Michigan State, I almost ranked them. Princeton, Yale. I actually watched Princeton, Yale a good amount. Well, that and the dunk. Never mind. I don't even want to talk about NBA All-Star. That shit was ass. Princeton, good game. Saban Lee's one of my favorite players in the country to watch. He is so shifty, so quick. And probably my favorite mid-major player to watch. He's been legit. I want Princeton in the tournament. We saw them make the Sweet 16 last year. I think they can make another one this year, but the Ivy's a tough place with Yale and Cornell. Arizona continues to be on fire. Jaden Bradley, 21 off the bench there. The Wildcats got 1 seed in the tournament preview. I got them ranked 6th overall in the country. Shout out to them. And Nevada got another win. And in the Mountain West, San Diego State also took down New Mexico. I got San Diego State ranked at 21. The Mountain West is so weird because I feel like all those teams are kind of in the same area of like the 20th, the 30th ranked team in the country. And it's tough to put them in an order. I got at San Diego State 1, Colorado State 2, Utah State 3, Nevada 4, New Mexico 5, Boise State 6, but it could really be in any order. And that was just Saturday. And then Sunday, of course, brought really good games. South Florida's legit. I don't know if you watched that game, but one, their uniforms were amazing. Those neon green ones, those were so good. Oh man, I got to sneeze. 1 sec. All right, I just sneezed. South Florida is really, really good. They won 90-86 over FAU. Kind of survived a late comeback from the Owls. It wasn't enough. Vlad Golden had 23, but man, Youngblood shooting the ball, Miguel shooting the ball, USF, man. They now have a 2-game lead in the American over the Owls, and they're really building an at-large case. Again, I did say last episode, they lost some bad games in the beginning of the year. But now they're playing great basketball. And they've lost 1 game in conference. I got them almost in my top 25. Like I dropped FAU out. I have South Florida now over FAU. That probably allowed Florida to get in. And then yeah, that allowed Florida to get into my top 25. But I think FAU. I believe FAU has an at-large resume. But damn, they don't want to lose more than maybe one more game the rest of the year. If they don't win the conference tournament. And I want South Florida in the NCAA tournament. We haven't seen this school be there in so long, or at least it feels like it. And Sharif Abdul-Rahim's done an amazing job coming from Kennesaw State, now going to South Florida and building this team. I could see him getting the job at DePaul. We'll see, but shout out to the Bulls. Big time home win there, 19-5, and they're the best. They're the best team in the American. 2-game lead now in that conference. But the real story on Sunday, besides Northwestern getting a win against Indiana, Seton Hall getting a huge road win over St. John's, pretty much knocking St. John's out of the NCAA tournament discussions, was the number 2 team in the country and the committee's number 1 team in the country losing to Ohio State that just had a new coach that fired their coach 4 days ago. Ohio State 73, as you can see. Purdue 69 there. Bruce Thornton 22 points in this one. Battle 19. It was enough. Sorry, Edie's 22 wasn't enough. And we see, look, 4 starters in double digits for the Boilermakers, but only 4 bench points in this one. In this one, they only hit 3 threes as a team. And that's what we kind of saw last year from Purdue, of course, in the NCAA tournament, was they weren't able to shoot the 3. They didn't shoot that many of them. I mean, damn, what did they shoot? They didn't even shoot 10 threes. They shot 9 threes. No, they shot 9 threes in the game. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens. You shoot 9 threes in the game, you're just not going to win. Look, Trey Kaufman-Renn had good game 12. Braden Smith always diamond up with 7 assists in this game. Fletcher Loyer hasn't been playing good basketball recently. And we see now Purdue lose 3 games on the road in the Big Ten. They just haven't played great on the road this year, which a lot of teams haven't. But you can't lose this game. This team has a new coach that's lost 6 of 7. This Ohio State team is not good. But Bruce Thornton has a big one. Battle hit some big threes, and then they had players off the bench, Dale Bonner, Zed Key, have good big moments in this one, and they weren't afraid to use their fouls, which you have to do against Purdue. You have to use your fouls wisely. They did. And Purdue shot the free throw well. Did they miss a free throw? They didn't. They didn't miss a free throw. They were 20-20 from the line. It didn't matter because they didn't allow Purdue to, get wide open threes. They took their mess and they fouled, and they turned them over. And that's what Ohio State did. So shout out to the Buckeyes for getting a huge win. I can't remember the new coach's name. Oh man, but it starts with a B. I'm gonna find it real quick. Never mind. It starts with a D. Diebler. Shout out to Coach Diebler, because I had to give him a shout out for what he just did in his first game, taking the number 2 team in the country. I dropped Purdue to 3 in the country. Look, Purdue's still unarguably one of the best teams in the country. Pretty much every team's done that this year. Really, besides UConn, is lose a game on the road, multiple games on the road this year. But now I got them below Houston because Houston has computer numbers and they're frankly just playing better. And we'll see Houston have a big week this week. So let's see if they can, tonight hold home court. So let's just talk about the next 2 nights before we get out here, because this is probably a long episode. Virginia's at Tech. I have Virginia still ranked. I'm not sure if the AP will still have them ranked. But if they lose this game, obviously they won't be ranked. They're actually underdogs on this one. They struggle at Voltech. It's a tough environment to go in and play. And then, yeah, Iowa State at Houston at 9. Houston's 9-point favorites. I got Houston ranked 2, Iowa State ranked 5. I'm sure Iowa State will be, I'm going to say, around that 5 read when the new rankings come out. I believe Houston will be 2 when the new AP poll comes out. So this is going to be a really good game. Must watch. Obviously, Jamal Shead, Taman Lipsey, 2 great defensive teams. So, yeah, the over-under is 127. So they're not saying that both teams even score 65. Yeah, should be a low-scoring one in this one. And then Kansas State, Texas is also, that's not that great of a game. And let's see, Tuesday, Butler, Villanova. That's a big bubble matchup. Tennessee's, no, never mind. Tennessee, I was going to say Missouri, but Missouri is horseshit. Baylor at BYU could be interesting. The Bears, I don't know if BYU will be ranked when the new poll comes out, but you're going into Provo. That's not an easy place to play there. BYU needs that much. Wouldn't need a much. They need that victory. That's a much needed victory for the Cougars. And then this is actually a very good 9 o'clock slate. San Diego State at Utah State. That's a ranked matchup for me. It won't be in the AP poll because I'm sure they won't have Utah State ranked. But that's a really, really good game there for who might be at the top of this of the Mountain West standings. And then TCU at Texas Tech. That's another game between two tournament teams. Oh, I missed this one. And then UConn against Creighton. Yeah, Tuesday's really good. Really the later slate of Tuesday. The early slate of Tuesday is kind of bad. Once you get into 8:30, it's a really good games. UConn Creighton's. Yeah, so 8:30 and 9 o'clock slates are really good. So stay tuned for those games. Those are some really good ones, and we'll be back on Wednesday to talk about all those games and the results, anything interesting that happened. Thanks for watching, CBB Talk fans. Make sure you like, subscribe, do whatever you want. I appreciate you for listening, and see you next time.